So today we're going to be looking at some. We can see that, you know, right here is exactly what I want to talk. Everything is red. Everything is red and red. So all the markets are pretty much. Oh yeah, did you like that? That was awesome, right? Let me bring it up for everyone to see. So guys, if you don't know, but we post daily content. Australia recession, right? So 6 quarters of RBA rate hikes drives Australia to recession cliff. And if you haven't yet watched that video, I highly recommend you to have a look on that. And this is one of the topics we're going to be covering today as well. But let's go for parts here, all right? So we had the GDP came out from Australia this week, and we can see that the GDP per capita in Australia here has been down for 6 quarters. All right. So for those who don't know, one quarter has 3 months. So we can just do the we can just take the calculator here and do the maths, right? So sorry for my voice, and you know it sounds a little bit congested. So 6 quarters has 3 months. So 3 times 6 equals to 18 months divided by 12 is 1 year and a half. All right, so 1 year and a half. Well, that's a big calculator. So 1 year and a half of worse than expected, still a negative. We're going to be looking at the numbers soon. Still on the negative GDP per capita. Okay, how many of you know what is GDP per capita? Does anyone know what is GDP? First of all, what is GDP, and second, what is GDP per capita? So while you guys answer me this question, I'm going to be drawing, where's my pen? There we go. Drawing what we're going to be having a look today. So first thing, we're going to be looking at Australia, AU. Oh, Australia, that's good. AU, and then AUS, and then from that, we're going to be having a look on Australian dollar as well as gold. Okay. Wow, lots of new names here. Welcome, everyone. So Australia, we're going to be having a look on Australian dollar, gold, as well as the GDP. Second, we're going to be having a look at the Nvidia. Nvidia stock plunging 9% in a day. Okay. And why is that happening? Okay. And third, but not last, we're going to be talking about the jorts, okay, from yesterday, and the US dollar. All right. So first of all, Australia and Australia dollar, as well as gross domestic product and the gold, and how is this all combined and making all combined and making some moves on the market. Later on, Nvidia 9% drop in a day. Well, not in a day, but you know, in a week, let's say. And why is that happening? And third of all, the job openings from yesterday, that was very negative for USA, coming up worse than expected and less than expected. So yet made a little bit of a move on the US dollar index. All right. So that's what we'll be covering today. So let's get started. All right. Let me take a screenshot of this. Just a second. Perfecto. All right. Let's go. Okay. So my question for everyone was, do you know what's GDP? We do have some answers here. So let me have a look on that. GDP is basically measuring the money spent by consumers, showing the purchase power of the people. Is the total monetary value of production within Australia. Right. Toll. Yeah, not that right. Okay, so GDP, all right, so pretty much Rainer Nelson, sorry, I can't pronounce your name correct, but yes, you are correct. So GDP pretty much stands for gross, then domestic, and then product. All right, so gross domestic product. All right. No, not the well, the services as well. Yes, you're correct. Yeah. So gross domestic product and services, 1.5%. That's correct. Right. So GDP stands for gross domestic product, and it's pretty much the total monetary value of all the goods, not only in Australia, in USA, in Europe, or in whatever country it may be, for a specific period. All right. So we may have a GDP for a quarter, we may have a GDP for a month, we may have a GDP for 1 year. Most of the times we can see this measured on a quarterly basis, as well as annually basis. Because higher the aspect, the scope of what you're getting is the better for the data, right? So more data, it means more certain towards what it has, what it is. All right, so it pretty much serves to a really overall economic health indicator. All right, so take the GDP. So GDP is like an indicator that shows the health of the economy. All right, health of economy. Sorry, guys. All right. So it's the GDP is an indicator of the health of the economy. All right. It pretty much shows to us if the economy is doing well or if the economy is doing bad. Right, with positive numbers or negative numbers, or better than what was expected, better than the previous, etc. And of course, the size of the nation's economy. All right. So USA may have a much bigger GDP than Australia, because the trading partners, how many people they have, the population they have, laboring skills may be better than Australia, or Australia may have a better GDP than, for instance, any emerging markets like Thailand, let's say. All right. Again, Australia is more prepared. Between Australia and Thailand, Australia may be more prepared, have more trading partners, balance of payment may be bigger, and etc. All right, so pretty much three primary ways that the GDP is calculated. So expenditure approach, production, and the income approach. All right, so we don't need to go too deep into that, but pretty much the income approach is all incomes earned by the individual, as well as business, in the economy. All right, then the expenditure approach is they sum all the expenditures, all the spending on goods and services of the economy, like the government spending, net exports, consumption, investments, etc. And the production or output for the approach is the measure of the value of an output produced by the different sectors into the economy. All right, so this is GDP in really simple terms. Now, when we go to GDP per capita, is the GDP divided by the total population of the country. Okay, so really interesting to see if we clear it all, come back here, GDP, let me GDP Australia. So this is on English. I need to change that to English. Let me just change that. There we go. Right, translate. All right, so 1.69 trillion. So 1.7 trillion US dollars. That was in 2022, all right? Just for comparison, Canada has 2.1 trillion and India has 3.4 trillion, okay? Now, this is the GDP in Australia. If we come back here for the GDP per capita in Australia, we have, sorry, we have $65,099.85. Okay, so pretty much they take this number, right? So if we come population in Australia, so 26.1 million, 26 million people, right? So where's my calculator? It's going to be a huge mess, but calculator. There we go. So 1.7 trillion. So 1.7 trillion. So 100,000 million trillion. All right. Divided by how many people we have? 26 million. 26 million. It's going to be 65,380. It's pretty much what we got, 65,000, etc. All right. So that's how the maths behind of the GDP per capita is done. It shows us how much in average, all right, it represents, it shows in a representation, a very simple representation of the average economic output or the income per person that is used to compare the living standards between different countries or regions. This is why we have United States, Australia, and Canada just here. So it's a very helpful measure because it shows to us, it can gauge to us how the well-being of each individual on the economy is going, as well as, of course, it doesn't count for income inequality or the cost of living differences across different regions in Australia or USA or whatever country you may be talking about. All right, so this is a GDP. And why I gave all of this explanation is because, remember, we need to talk about the Australian GDP, okay? And why is, where is, I've separated here, it's not here. Well, I can bring that again up, just a second. Okay, and why is the Australian dollar not going so great at the last couple of days, couple of weeks, okay? Couple of days, actually. So we've all the way from 68,241 now to all the way down to 66,854 and now to 67,160. All right, so that's where we are sitting at the moment with Australian dollar against the US dollar. All right. So we've had a release this week about the Australian national accounts on the GDP, the national income, expenditure, and product, and we can see that the GDP is actually going good. All right, nothing too crazy. We can see that from March 2024 to June 2024. We had a 0.2% increase. Well, not increasing, but a release of 0.2%. Same from the December 23 to March 24. So quarterly wise. And then we had a negative 0.4 from the GDP per capita. So remember that in March 23, so 1 year ago, pretty much, we were at negative 0.1. and then we went to negative 0.4, negative 0.3, came back to negative 0.4, and now stayed at negative 0.4. So it's really not looking great. And total all combined is negative 1.5, as the GDP still doing good, I would say, at 1. But there's so much into it, okay? Because the month of August tends to be a really bad month for stocks. Okay, so even if we take ASX, ASX 200, that's the 4 hour, we can see this massive decline at the beginning of the month of August. Let me grab a vertical line. So we can see that from the 1st of August, that was on a Thursday, we've seen a huge drop, more than 6% in a week, right? In the first week, we've had a drop of 6% all the way down to the, so on a Thursday to a Monday. So for pretty much 3 days, all right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday doesn't count. And then Monday. So 3 days, 6% drop, came all the way up from 8,153 down to 7,527. And then it took all the rest of the month to pretty much come back up where we saw the market trading on the ranges of July and beginning of October. All right, so August. So that was a pretty massive decline. And as I say, August tends to be a very bad month for stocks. We can even look to the S&P 500. There we go here. So this as well, month of August have been, where's my line? Vertical line, here you go. So July, there we go. Month of August here. So the month of August have been pretty bad as well for S&P 500. And all of these just made the US dollar weakening, as well as the Australian dollar weakening. But now the comes the question, right? If we look at AUDUSD, and that's my next talking point. Where is my, there we go. So the Australian dollar, let me close these. Let me do 2 views. There we go. So in one side, in the left side, I have gold. And on the right side, I got Australian dollar. Australian dollar against US dollar. Both of them in 4 hours. Right. So now looking at these is, yes, the GDP is 6 quarters, 18 months, 1 year and a half already. So it says that S&P 500 is having almost the same move as the ASX 200. Yes, they pretty similar. And something that it's even more scary is the NASDAQ and the JPY. So every time the NASDAQ's falling, JPY tends to fall as well. Every time that the NASDAQ's going up, JPY tends to go up as well. So it's pretty interesting, this correlation between indices and currencies. All right, coming back here. So as I was saying, the gold has been hitting all-time highs again on the month of August. All right, so now hitting all-time high at $2,532. Did had a pretty shy retracement, I would say. Came back to try to make another all-time highs. It couldn't, and then fall back down again. So now if we look to here, it's pretty similar moves that are happening. Okay, of course, not exactly same moves, but if we look to this specific move here, we've had a top, and then we've had another top, and then we've came back down. So yes, for those who may have the question, Australia is a big producer, has big minings, okay, in Australia. So whatever the price of the gold does, it is a commodity-backed currency. Not only gold, but as well as iron ore. It's a very, very big export here in Australia, and some other commodities, but I think pretty much iron ore is the biggest one, as well as I think iron ore. Let me have a look. Yeah, that's the iron ore. Yeah, so it's biggest, one of the biggest ones here in Australia, and they all got these minings out of the West Australia, WA. I think someone is from West Australia. Steve, are you from West Australia, if I'm not wrong? Maybe you are. Can't remember now. Anyways, so that's the first point that I want to touch base is I do expect Australian dollar to weaken, especially against the JPY, okay? So here you go. Yeah, exactly. So especially against the Japanese yen, I'm looking at a lot of potential for the Japanese yen be a much more stronger currency than what most of the traders, the market participants are expecting at this moment. We did have these try to live in Port and world's largest bulk export port. Yeah, that's nice. So it tried to, where's my pen? It tried to make this move up to this price at 100, here 100, but it didn't quite get there and already start to dropping. So if I'm looking to, we most likely will lose this bottom. And if we lose that bottom, we may go to a daily time frame. Zoom out. We may be coming to these levels. Okay, 88. So the reason why I think that Japanese yen can get stronger is that whether is the central bank chairman in the Bank of Japan have stated that yes, they are inclined for a 25 base point hike in the month of December. So this will definitely strengthen the Japanese yen, especially when we have the Federal Reserve coming up on the 18th of September in 2 weeks. Well, not really 2 weeks, or 1 week and a half, pretty much, coming up and deciding what will be the rates. Okay, so if they're going to cut is already a yes answer, but now it comes how much they will cut. And if we look to the CME, Fed Watch 2, we can see that the market is specifying a 25 basis point cut for 55% of a chance. But 45% of the market is specifying a 50 basis point cut. So now what it makes and more sense for me is a 25. But if the Fed, for whatever reason, if the FOMC, for whatever reason, wants to be a little bit more dovish, then a little bit more aggressive in cutting the rates, that would be really, really, really catastrophe for the US dollar index. Okay, so let me grab the US dollar index here from a different from trading view. Second, there we go. So we've seen this little try to getting somewhere. If we have a lower NFP this week, this is what is making the whole game interesting. All right, is that we just had the JOLTS yesterday. We're going to be talking about that later, and we're going to have the NFP. So I'm going to come back to this content a little bit later once we are closing to finish. But let's go for the next topic. So do you guys got my perception of a weaker Australian dollar? You guys can understand why so, and what is the GDP, and that we did had a 18 months, 6 quarters already of negative GDP per capita, and that this is not looking great. Can we move ahead, or do you guys have any questions? Perfecto. Okay, that's good. All right. Now, moving ahead, let me close this. Moving ahead for Nvidia. All right. So as I say, Nvidia had a really bad trading month of August. Really bad trading a couple of days ago. So the last, so the Stevo sent a message. Let's have a look. So the US Department of Justice is going to investigate Nvidia for violating antitrust laws. I thought it was a bit suspect to announce this after market. Ah, interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. So, that makes total sense now, to be honest. Okay, interesting. All right. See, every day learning from everyone. It's always good. All right. So my perspective from Nvidia is a little bit different. Yes, of course, these headline there is huge impact on the market. But if we looked at here, all right, we've had a drop of more than 9.5% or somewhere around those numbers for Nvidia, and it's really interesting to see because one of I may be a little bit crazy in talking about that, but I still using ChatGPT every day pretty much to help me writing emails and rewriting content and etc. So I may be crazy in saying that, but I don't see much people talking about AIs as I was seeing 6 months ago, right? And this one of the traders in the trading floor, he was like, look, Nvidia is going higher and higher every day and every day. So every time and every time it's going higher and higher. And once maybe when my mom comes and asks me, or my girlfriend comes and asks me because they don't know anything about stock market. Oh, look, Nvidia is going up. I'm probably going to buy some stock, and then it's time to short it. And that's exactly what happened. So I think it was exactly on this area here, somewhere around here. I think $326, somewhere here. His mom come and ask, told him, look, it's going up, right? I think it's time for us to buy some portion of the stock on that. And what happened was exactly the opposite. See, so every time when something is hyped, that the people come and try to getting into the trend, but it's already too late. Because if we zoom out, you can see that it was all the way down from $40 in August last year in 2023, like in a year. All right. So in 1 year, we've seen, February, November, September, it was $44. Yeah. So in 1 year, we've seen this huge up move, right? But I don't want to be the one that want to call. I want to do the call on Nvidia, but I'm expecting Nvidia to come back to, first of all, here at $88, and then second to $45. All right. So I'm pretty bearish on Nvidia. I'm not a big stock trader. I think everyone knows that. But we've seen already too much movements happening here, and I don't see a consistent way of progressing towards that. So I want to know a little bit from you guys. What do you guys think about Nvidia? Sorry, Rainer. did you send a message? It's a fantastic tool. I use it all the time. It didn't came up here, so if you could send it back again. Oh, all right, all right. You're talking about ChatGPT. Yeah, no, it's a fantastic tool. I use all the time as well. I mean, it's pretty handy. It helps us a lot in the trading floor, doing maths and etc. It's really, really good. But I think that's the only tool everyone is using. Like, I mean, think in terms of the higher population, right? The big mass of the population is what are they using, right? What are they using? They're using ChatGPT. They're not using the actual tool behind the AI. What Nvidia has been doing is they've been like all the way here. Let me grab my pen. So all the way from here, they not only from here, not much more before that, but they were using GPUs and thanks man, and all the sort of aspects to be in the trend because they were good. All right, Nvidia hardware is good, guys. Let me just drink some. Let me just do a sip of water here. My throat is really killing me. Just a second. All right, sorry. My throat is really not great. I thought it would be fine, but I don't care. It's for you guys. I'm here. Right. So, and I was saying, Nvidia was doing a fantastic job. They have really good hardwares. And with the record earnings, that's correct, Steve. So, you know, a company like registering record earnings quarter after quarter. There's something there. I mean, there is something in there. All right. Otherwise, every company of technology would be doing this. And it's not only Nvidia because of AIs. All right. There's multiple other companies that use AIs on the open format, open source format, like Microsoft. Microsoft is going down as well. Microsoft, yeah, this one. Look at that, right? So we see Microsoft coming down all the way up from $465 down to $408. And again, this was when AI was in a huge trend and Microsoft jumped in on that, right? So yes, call me crazy, call me whatever, but I do believe that Microsoft, Nvidia, open source AI, etc., they are full of, you know, AI based analysis that are not true behind it. And there is a time that this bubble will explode. And it's like Peter Pan said, I had a podcast with him a couple months ago. I can't remember which one it was, but even with Lachlan, I have a podcast with Lachlan, and we've predicted all these crash around AI sector. So be careful, guys. It's really crazy what everything is happening now. No. With all these stocks plunging, all right, this is stocks going down crazy. I want to ask you the question. The money is not going to gold. The money is not going to stocks. Where the money is going? Where the money is going? It's really two simple answers. There's only under the mattress. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Look, the money has pretty much two things. All right, bonds and safe haven currency like CHF, euro, as well as Japanese yen, especially now. All right, and this is why I'm saying, with all of these stocks coming down, all of the bonds like US dollar, USA, FMC, maybe cutting 50 basis point. We've seen US dollar coming down. Like all of these S happening, if you get what I mean. it's lining up for a stronger Japanese yen into the next year. So my trade probably will be a stronger Japanese yen for 2025. And coming back to USDJPY, okay? If you think, right? If you think that this move here is all you can get, zoom out from the picture. Zoom out from the picture, right? Look at here. Look at that. So yes, I do believe that there is a big potential for USDJPY coming back to 130. Okay, 130. We were playing good on USDJPY last first half of the year on longing it. I think it's time to start to look for other options, right? And one of the other options is a stronger Japanese yen. Once we break this level down here, we do have so much potential to come to levels of 130, okay? And even 114. I mean, yes, it's a big take, but I don't think it will go there, but it is something that we could explore in the future. All right. Now, last topic is USA JOLTS, all right, and the US dollar. So we've done Australian dollar, Australia GDP, and the gold. We've done Nvidia 90% and why, what is the reason, and where the money is going, and now the jobs opening. As I was saying, we had economic calendar. Here you go. Back United States. We had this week. Just a second. All good. Labor Day, United States. Imports for the book. There we go. Here and here. Oh, there you go. Here. Okay. So let's have a look on it, right? United States job openings. All right. So pretty much JOLT is here, all right? Probably you guys can read wet, but on a very simple terms is all the positions that are open, but not filled, of course, they still open it on the last business day of the month, okay? So the jobs opening are part of the job opening and labor turnover service, that is the JOLT. And the server collects the data from around 16,400 non-farm establishments, including retailers and manufacturers, as well as federal, state, and local government entities in the 50 states and District of Columbia. The JOLTS assesses the unmet demand for labor in the US labor market and gained attention in 2014 as favorite labor market indicator at the Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen. So is a where does it say again? Labor market indicator, favorite labor market indicator of Federal Reserve, Chair Janet Yellen, but still the Federal Reserve is using these measure of. Just mute. Okay, thank you. So as I was saying, the forecast was 8 million and 8 million and 100,000. And the actual came in at 7,673,000. So that's really bad. That's pretty much somewhere around 500,000 less than what they were expecting. Okay. So yeah, really sad to see this. I do believe that the US economy a few months ago was sort of overheated and that they would probably get some problems happening into the economy. So most likely, we may have for the month of August, a really bad NFP. And yes, I am believing that most probably it's going to be bad in a sense of, yes, it may be better than expected, all right, in a sense, but not that good, all right. We may have, remember guys, when I talk about NFP, I don't talk about only the NFP. I talk about the NFP, the average early earnings, as well as the unemployment rate. So all combined, yes, it may be higher than expected, the NFP, but what really matters is the unemployment rate and how much those people are getting paid. And I don't think it's going to be good, all right? So once the release is done, we may have a stronger move to the upside, but later on a down move on the US dollar. So these are my takes for the NFP, and I do expect the Fed to cut 25 basis points. Steve, I unfortunately don't have the commitments of traders today. I've canceled my subscription. I'm gonna have to redo the subscription. So I will let you guys know once I have that back again. Guys, any questions? That's pretty much all for today. I hope you guys could take out of something out of these. US 30, sorry, sweets. I'm not really good on that, man. Would be more towards currencies. But again, I think it follows the simple concept of S&P 500. So I hope you guys could take something out of that. And yes, yeah, I need a little bit more rest. USDJPY. Look, USDJPY, as I was saying, most of the money is moving to CHF, Japanese yen, etc. So yes, I don't see why USDJPY couldn't go lower at where it is at the moment. Okay, so once all of these things start to build it up and build it up and build it up, most probably we can see a lower USDJPY. All right. Okay, guys. Thanks so much, everyone. I hope everyone have a lovely day ahead and a great weekend. Thanks again, and I'll see you in next Tuesday. All right, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.